I wish with my whole heart that we could just stop doing this to people. Like, please, for the love of God. Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for coming back if you've been here before, or hello, hi, welcome if you're new. My name is Mickey. I am a therapist and we talk about therapy things on this channel. Today we are talking about Reddit again. We've talked about Am I the Asshole before. I will put a card up there for you guys to watch those videos if you have not seen them yet. But today we're talking about a different part of Reddit that is like a whole new world of dysfunction and toxicity, because we are talking about the relationship advice subreddit. I have been kind of generally aware of this subreddit as like a casual consumer of Reddit content before, but I'd never really delved too deep into it until I saw some of y'all suggest it on the Am I the videos. And so my husband and I did some deep dives to find a couple posts to talk about for this video, and wow, we've got lots of things to talk about and unpack today, so let's get into it. But before I do that, if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you stay and be a part of our lovely little community that we're building here. We're trying to start a mental health revolution for free, and it is difficult to do that without people, so I would love for you to join. Thanks. Okay, let's talk about this train wreck of a subreddit, shall we? First and foremost. Okay, this post is titled, Is He Doing the Bare Minimum? I also love that these are all, they remind me of like the Ask Abby things in newspapers with their like very sensational titles. I love these. Okay, anyways, this says, Is he doing the bare minimum? My boyfriend, 19, and I, 19, moved in together in June. We have been dating for a year and a half. Then things have been rocky, mainly just adjusting our schedules again to get to spend time together now that we live together. I feel like he doesn't try as much now than what he did then. He's never really romantic anymore. I feel like I'm not even his girlfriend, almost like a roommate. I just wish that he told me how he felt about me or us or our future. I just want to know that I'm appreciated by him. I feel like I'm always the one who has to clean. He will sometimes try if I ask him to clean. Just him while I'm away at work or something. But it seems like it's still dirty to me. I just don't understand, because we both have jobs, but I'm also in college and I don't have time to just sit there and clean when he could be doing it to take that off my plate, because what else could he be doing? I just don't know what to do because I love him and everything, but I'm tired. So this whole subreddit, if you don't know, is based around the idea of sort of posting a thing with your problem and like asking for advice about your relationship. I, spoiler right off the bat, don't like this subreddit very much. If the Am I the Asshole subreddit has a more assertive, authoritative kind of vibe, this subreddit has like a very authoritarian, like aggressive feel. A lot of the comments are filled with people being like, this is the right answer, do this, respect yourself, just and it's like kind of an odd environment, especially when we're talking about people's relationships. Oftentimes when people post these things too, it's like, we've been together for 10 years and I don't know what to do, and like, ooh, this is happening, and like, not that that's a bad thing to post, like I understand why people post these things, but it is wild to me that these strangers would just say like, your relationship is over, find a new one, without like knowing who they are, with like this very brief internet write-up. And so this post had similar vibes. I actually screen grabbed one of the comments because it pushed my buttons. It said, the thing is that adults should not need to be told to clean or share responsibility in the household. You need to have a conversation about this, and that he needs to be responsible and attentive to tasks. No one tells you what to clean, what needs to be done, to write groceries that are needed on the list, to change the sheets and so forth. You just do it. It is 100% reasonable to expect him to operate in the same way. You'll need to have a calm discussion with him about this and see if things can shape up. This is what I'm saying, where people have this very authoritarian approach to their advice giving in this subreddit that pushes my buttons, because that's not true. Not only is this kind of a bad take and just like not very useful advice in all cases, but it's also ableist as fuck. There are a whole host of reasons that a person might not operate in this way that have nothing to do with laziness or lack of investment in the relationship. For what it's worth, people with ADHD, autistic people, people with chronic illness, people who have like other like mental illnesses or like things that affect their ability to function can all struggle to complete these like activities of daily living. One of the most common symptoms that we see with people with chronic major depressive disorder is difficulty with personal hygiene. Things like showering, washing your face, brushing your teeth can feel insurmountable. And like something that's impossible to get done just for yourself. And so of course it makes sense then that a person in that place might struggle to like sweep the floors or take out the trash. So I'm very, very frustrated and like offended by this rhetoric that no one needs to tell an adult how to function. Like, yes, they do, because I do it all the time. I help people work on defining goals, creating baby steps to accomplish those goals, setting an action plan in place so that they can achieve these goals, and creating a shame-free environment in which they're able to work towards those goals and fail at those goals and not feel bad about that, because that's a very, very normal fucking part of being an adult, and I think we just need to normalize that. I wish with my whole heart that we could just stop doing this to people. Like, please, for the love of God, stop doing the thing, like as a general internet, where we take our lived experience and we force it onto other people and say, because I feel this way, this must be how it is for everyone else. And don't get me wrong, everyone is entitled to feel how they feel, and your feelings are always valid. This channel especially is always a place where you are safe to feel exactly how you feel and to be allowed to express that. But that does not give you the right or carte blanche to just force other people to live their lives according to the things that feel real and authentic for you. That's not fair, and it's also not real. That's why I lean so heavily into research on this channel, because especially around topics of mental health and mental illness, it's very important for us to come to the table with like a clear understanding of what is backed in the evidence-based practice, what's backed in the research, and what is effective and safe for most people across, all different identity factors across a long amount of time, so that we're practicing in a way that we know overall is safe for a lot of people. So yeah, I guess that was like a very long diatribe to say that I just dislike this. I don't like it. And for what it's worth, my sort of general takeaway from this situation, if a client said this to me in session, my first question right off the bat would be, did you communicate this to them? To which the answer is usually no, which is fine. Like that's okay. I get it. I was very much this person, and still kind of am this person. Sorry, babe. It's a very human thing to do, but for what it's worth, if you find yourself in this situation where you're like, why don't they get me? I want to encourage you to rewind and ask the question. Have I communicated this need explicitly, clearly, without doing the thing where I try to like subtweet them and like just hope that they get it? Like really with your full chest, have you said it out loud clearly? And if you haven't, maybe try that. See how it goes. If it's safe for you to do that. Okay, let's look at this second one. This actually, I was surprised to find this in the subreddit. It says, what does effective treatment for childhood trauma actually look like? I realize certain demons from my past get harder to escape as I get older. The outcomes of those experiences seem more obvious and cemented. The biggest thing is the discomfort I have in stable relationships, and so I haven't even pursued a relationship at all for a decade. I want to be in a relationship, but I also know that once I'm in a functional relationship, I will have so much anxiety, uncertainty, and ultimately act out. How do I actually come to terms and heal? What does that actually look like? Like I said, I was surprised to see this in here, and like pleasantly so. If you are a person who is noticing there is some stuff coming up around relationships for you, maybe like trauma based, there are a number of different approaches that you can use in therapy to address that. I want to give a caveat here from the client perspective. It's not really necessary per se for you to be well versed in the different modalities that therapists use to treat trauma. That's not really your job. Like that's what you pay us, because we went to school, we did the thing, we read all of the shit. It's like, it's kind of not your thing, and that's okay. Each therapist has a different specialty, a different preference in terms of trauma treatment, and so not every therapist has like the training in all of the modalities that I'm about to list, for example. Also, just as food for thought, one of the things that we do know from the research is that the actual modality that a therapist is using is not necessarily the most important factor in whether or not a person will heal or be able to make long-term change. One of the most important factors is the therapeutic relationship and the rapport building process. So if a client feels comfortable, feels safe, feels accepted, and is able to be vulnerable, and especially if they feel like the therapist is being genuine and is like really engaging with them on a human level, that's where we start to see the change happen and where people's lives really really start to transform. So again, I'm not listing these. This is meant to be descriptive rather than prescriptive. That's the new motto of this fucking channel. Descriptive rather than prescriptive. Because this, again, it's not your job to know all of these, but also, again, it's more important that you vibe with your therapist than to find a therapist with a specific modality that seems to work for you. But there are trauma modalities that can work. One of the most commonly talked about is EMDR, which stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's like kind of a fancy spaceship modality. I don't really know a whole lot about it because I'm not trained in EMDR. It's very expensive and like a little bit cagey and weird. It's like a little cult-like, but it's apparently very effective. It's a thing. Sometimes there's a light bar involved. Sometimes there's like beeps in your ear. Sometimes there's these little remote things that you hold that like buzz. There's lots of science into it. I will link some stuff in the description if you're like really burning to read about it. But the basic premise is that it helps to rewire your brain in like the neuroplasticity sense. If you haven't watched that video, link up there, to help your brain remember the trauma in a different way, to kind of take the sting out of those memories. Kind of. I'm sure there will be someone in the comments who's like, actually, I'm an EMDR expert. And like, sorry, I'm not an expert. But that's the cliff notes. There are other trauma modalities, trauma-focused CBT being one of them, cognitive processing therapy, that's the one that I tend to use most often. Let's see, there is somatic experiencing, which is especially focused on like the somatic experience and like the sensory processing. Oh God, what was the other one that just left my brain? I hate when this happens. It was like right there. And then it got stuck. This is why I'm bad at tests, you guys. This is why I fail exams and things. Because I will get stuck. Prolonged exposure. Oh my God. Woo, it's like popping a pimple. Prolonged exposure is another type of trauma therapy. Wow, we really had to work for that one. I'm done listing trauma modalities because my brain has had it, I guess. Anyways, there's lots of different trauma modalities that you can use. Those are a few of them, but again, the caveat there is that it's important for you to vibe with your therapist above all else. This is the last one that I have. This says, dating apps on boyfriend's phone. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. Today, while showing me something on his phone, I saw he had the Match.com app on his phone. After confronting him about this, he got very defensive and stated that it was really difficult to cancel your Match.com membership. So he has it all this time. He allowed me to open the app and he was not logged in. I asked directly, are we in a serious relationship? He then dodged the answer by replying, we've been dating for 2 years. That doesn't really answer my question, but I was trying to process what was happening, so I just took some time to quietly think. I don't really know what to think about it. We've been having a hard time. And most of the time I feel like I am his last priority. We only see each other on the weekends and text very little throughout the week. When I am with him, he is always distracted. Is it really that difficult to end a Match.com membership? The reason that I brought this up and wanted to talk about this is because it seems like a boundaries issue, and again, my number one question would be, have you communicated this to your partner? If we are feeling a certain type of way about not having our needs met or not feeling prioritized in the relationship, it is very important for us to communicate that. And I say this with the understanding that it is very uncomfortable for us to sit down and have these conversations. And it's not to say that every conversation that you have with your partner has to look like couples therapy. Just because I am a therapist does not mean that I have to advocate for everyone to sit down and go, so I was thinking, and I had a thought, and I just really wanted to communicate to you that I always feel like, no, it doesn't have to look that way. Sometimes you can just say, like, if you notice your partner's on their phone, like, hey, I'm noticing you're on your phone a lot, and like, I don't like it. Like, it's hurting my feelings. Could you not? And like, that's still communicating in a healthy way. I want to encourage everybody to approach communication in the way that feels most approachable and feasible to you, especially if we're starting with baby steps and you aren't really sure like where to get started. Sometimes it's helpful to just like spit it out, you know? I want to encourage you to release yourself of this expectation of having the perfect words and the perfect time and the perfect thing. This is something that I tell my clients all the time. Like, there's no perfect way to criticize someone. There's no perfect way. There's no like magic words that you can say that will take the sting out of telling your partner that they're hurting you. And so sometimes we just have to be honest about the fact that like, I don't like this, or like, this is weird and I don't know what to do about it, but it's not for me, and that's okay. I don't know that this relationship is a situation where it sounds like we have very healthy boundaries if someone has a dating app on their phone. But again, I think that also highlights the issue with this subreddit, which is that people are giving advice in this very like strict, no nonsense kind of way when we have like a 200-word write-up about this people's relationship and their lives, and we don't know them, you know? I don't know, like maybe he has really poor object permanence and he just forgot that the app was on his phone. Like that's a real thing that happens to people. Maybe he is cheating on his partner. We don't know. And so, you know, it's up for debate, and I think it's important, especially with these types of things, if you've ever posted there, if you're consuming advice there, very many grains of salt should be consumed when looking at these types of advice, because A, these people are not experts, but B, it's hard to know for sure. And people, especially on Reddit, people are liars sometimes. So, you know, I mean, it's anonymous, like it's in the culture of the app, like it's anonymous, and that's like part of the thing is that you're able to say things that maybe you wouldn't normally say in your real life if you were being held accountable by having your identity tied to it. So like, you know, food for thought. With that, I think we're going to wrap it up today because my voice is starting to go out and I am tired. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, let me know. I'm so curious to hear your guys' thoughts and feelings in the comments. And then like the video if you like the video, because that lets me know if you guys want to see more of this type of content. In the meantime, share the video to help the channel grow and to help each other grow. And I will see you guys next Saturday. Okay, bye.